Welcome to Women on Purpose. My name is Jo, and I am so glad you're here. Today, I want to talk to the woman who lies awake at night thinking about things she wishes she had done differently. Maybe it was a mistake from 10 years ago, or maybe it was just this morning when you snapped at someone you love. Whatever it is, it's still sitting heavy on your chest. I know that weight, because I've carried it too. This video is about something we rarely give ourselves permission to do. Forgiving ourselves first. Not after we've fixed everything, not after we've proven we've changed. First, if you're like most women, you probably forgive everyone else easily. Your kids, your friends, even strangers who've let you down. But when it comes to yourself, that's where the silence starts. That's where the shame creeps in. And that's where this conversation begins. I created Women on Purpose to be a safe place for real talk about self-worth, regret, healing, purpose, and the parts of ourselves we've buried under busyness and perfectionism. So today, we're going to talk about how to stop punishing yourself for being human and start giving yourself the grace you already offer to everyone else. Throughout this video, you'll also see dreamy, symbolic images of dancers, floating, twirling, rising. These are not just pretty pictures. They're metaphors for the emotional journey we go on when we begin to release shame and step into self-compassion. Each image reflects what healing can feel like: light, expressive, powerful. My hope is that as you watch them, you'll see a bit of yourself in their movement. I'll be sharing some very personal feelings, ones I've never spoken aloud until now, and I hope by the end, you'll feel a little lighter, a little softer with yourself, a little more free. So take a deep breath, set down whatever you're holding, and let's walk through this together. Because you deserve to forgive yourself, and this might be the beginning of everything. The myths that keep us stuck. Let's take a moment to talk about the myths that keep us from forgiving ourselves. Myth number 1 is this: if I forgive myself, I'm excusing what I did. But forgiveness isn't about letting yourself off the hook. It's about holding yourself accountable with love instead of shame. You can acknowledge the harm and still offer compassion. In fact, that's where real responsibility begins, when we own our choices without punishing ourselves for them forever. Myth number 2 is even harder to shake. I don't deserve forgiveness. I once knew a woman named Elise who carried deep guilt about leaving a marriage that had broken her spirit. She told me she felt selfish for choosing her own peace. But over time, as she reflected, cried, and wrote letters she never sent, she realized something powerful. Her survival was not selfish. It was sacred. She didn't need to earn forgiveness. She needed to believe she was already worthy of it. And then, there's myth number 3. Forgiving myself means I won't change. That if we go easy on ourselves, we'll stay stuck. But the truth is, shame keeps us frozen. Forgiveness sets us in motion. When we release the grip of regret, we free ourselves to grow, to do better, to be kinder. Change doesn't come from self-loathing. It comes from self-understanding. These myths are loud, but they're not the truth. The truth is this: forgiving yourself is not weakness. It's wisdom. And once you begin to let go of these lies, you'll start to feel what's possible again. What forgiveness looks like in real life. It's not a Hallmark card. So what does forgiveness actually look like in real life? It's not some perfect, tearful moment with soft music playing in the background. It's not a big speech or a dramatic epiphany. Most of the time, it's quiet, it's ordinary, and it's deeply personal. Forgiveness can look like pausing when you catch yourself thinking, "I'm such an idiot," and instead saying, "That was a hard time." It can look like catching yourself mid-spiral and offering a breath instead of blame. When I find myself spiraling into a shameful scenario, I've made a practice of giving myself 3 minutes to wallow in it. Just 3. I let the pity party play out, then I call it, "Party's over." And that boundary helps me break the cycle. For me, this has truly helped. Maybe it can for you too. It's in those tiny moments when you choose compassion over criticism, Sometimes it's writing a letter to your past self, a letter that starts with, "I see you and I understand now." Other times it's lighting a candle or releasing something into the wind, a little ritual that says, "I'm done carrying this." It might be whispering a mantra in the bathroom mirror after a long day, something like, "I did the best I could with what I knew," or "I am not my worst moment," or simply, "Even now, I deserve kindness." Forgiveness looks like letting go of perfection and choosing presence instead. It looks like saying no without guilt. It looks like making space for joy again, even when part of you doesn't feel like you've earned it. It's not flashy. It's not a Hallmark card. But it is healing, and it's yours to claim, one small, brave moment at a time. And you can start today. What changes when you forgive yourself first? When you choose to forgive yourself first, you begin to feel lighter inside. It's not just an emotional shift, it's physical too. You may notice that you breathe deeper, sleep better, and even smile more easily. The shame you've carried quietly in your body for years starts to release. That alone is a powerful act of healing. Your relationships soften too. You're no longer navigating the world from a place of hidden guilt. Instead, you show up more fully, more honestly. You become less reactive, more open. People can feel the change in you, even if they can't name it. Unexpected gifts begin to appear. You over-apologize less. You stop explaining yourself so much. You no longer hustle for approval or love. There's this quiet confidence that grows when you believe deep down that you are still worthy even with your flaws. And as you let go of shame, something beautiful happens. You become more compassionate. Toward others, yes, but also toward that girl you used to be, the one who didn't know what she knows now. The dancers you've seen throughout this video reflect that transformation. Every twirl, every suspended moment in air mirrors the release that comes with self-forgiveness. You start to move through your life more freely, more joyfully, just like them. When you forgive yourself first, you make space to grow into the woman you were always meant to be. Not the one trapped in old mistakes, but the one becoming whole. Personal reflection. If I could talk to her, my past self. Before I go any further, I want to say something for the woman who hears the words, "You didn't ruin anything," and feels resistance rise in her chest. Because maybe it doesn't feel true. Maybe people really were hurt. Maybe damage was done. And maybe you've tried to say those soft, comforting phrases to yourself, but they don't land, because the truth is more complicated. If that's you, I want to say this gently. Self-forgiveness isn't about pretending no one got hurt. It's about acknowledging that hurt without letting it harden into lifelong shame. It's saying, yes, I did harm. Yes, I carry regret. And also, I'm choosing to carry it with humility and still move forward. You don't have to deny what happened in order to heal. You can hold grief in one hand and self-compassion in the other. You don't have to pretend it's all okay. But you don't have to punish yourself forever either. This isn't about writing a letter or rewriting the past. This is about standing where you are right now and saying, I choose to keep growing. I choose to learn from who I was without shaming her into silence. I choose to be more honest, more kind, more aware from here forward. There is no script for how to heal from the hardest parts of your story, but there is a path, and it begins with accepting that you are allowed to move forward while still honoring what you've been through. Let's keep going. When the harm runs deep, I know what deep regret feels like. For years, I carried the weight of shame over what I had done, a constant ache that settled in my chest and refused to leave. There were nights I couldn't sleep because I kept replaying how I hurt someone I loved and the irreversible damage caused by my actions. I felt grief for the trust I had broken and fear that my one terrible decision had forever defined me. The guilt was so overwhelming that I honestly believed I might never deserve forgiveness. not from others, and certainly not from myself. I knew I had to take accountability for what I'd done. I didn't want to make excuses for my behavior. What happened was my responsibility, and I needed to face the consequences and try to begin repairing the damage where possible. Yet in my heart, I believed that forgiving myself would mean I was letting myself off the hook, so I punished myself with relentless self-criticism. I thought drowning in remorse was the only way to honor the people I had harmed. But living in endless shame only kept me stuck and unable to heal, and clinging to self-hatred wasn't helping anyone. Not me, and not those I hurt. Eventually, I began to realize that excusing harmful behavior and forgiving myself for the harm I caused were two very different things. In fact, I discovered that self-forgiveness is essential if I ever want to heal from my mistakes and find some peace of mind. So, I started to practice viewing myself with compassion instead of pure contempt, and forgiving myself became a way to acknowledge that I am more than my worst mistake. It was an act of personal healing, not about erasing what I did or avoiding accountability, but about refusing to condemn myself to a lifetime of useless shame. With time, I also tried to turn my remorse into a purpose. I asked myself how I could make things right, even if I couldn't undo the past. I found that finding ways to show accountability where I could, and choosing to do good helped me begin to believe I wasn't beyond redemption. Each day, I strive to honor those I hurt by living better and being kinder, rather than staying paralyzed by shame and self-hatred. This journey toward redemption is not easy, and I still have moments where that deep regret washes over me. But I no longer let it define me or rob me of a meaningful future. I carry my accountability and my self-compassion together now, hand in hand, one day at a time. If you are a woman struggling with forgiveness after harm, please know you are not alone in this. I understand the weight of shame, the fear that you'll never crawl out from under it, and the sorrow of hurting others. But I truly believe that forgiveness after harm is possible, even for you. You are worthy of healing and even redemption. And while it won't happen overnight, and the past isn't forgotten, with patience and compassion toward yourself, you can find a path forward. You can learn to forgive yourself, find purpose beyond your pain, and let your life become a story of growth and hope rather than just a story of hurt. Gentle steps to start today. If you're wondering how to begin, I want to leave you with a few gentle steps to start today. These are simple, loving actions that can create real change. Step 1. Name one regret that's been lingering in your heart. Don't fix it or fight it. Just sit with it without judgment. Let yourself feel what you feel without rushing past it. Step 2. Write a response to that regret as if you were writing to a dear friend. Be kind. Be understanding. Say what you wish someone had said to you in that moment. Step 3. Do one small act of kindness for yourself today. Something nourishing. It could be a nap, a walk, your favorite snack, or just 5 minutes of silence with your hand over your heart. These are not big, dramatic moves, but they are real, and they are powerful. You don't have to wait to be perfect. You don't have to keep carrying the past. You can begin healing right now. You are worthy of your own forgiveness, and you're not alone anymore. Conclusion: the bravest thing you'll ever do. Forgiving yourself is not selfish. It's sacred. It's the beginning of every good thing that follows. It is one of the bravest things you'll ever do. And it's something you can choose today, right now, in the middle of your real, messy, beautiful life. The images of dancers you've seen in this video were chosen with intention. I hope they reminded you of what it looks like to move freely through your own healing. Their grace and lightness are not perfection. They are release. And that's what I want for you. If you've been waiting for permission to forgive yourself, this is it. And I'm right here with you. Have you ever had a moment where you realized you were being too hard on yourself? I'd love to hear it. You're not alone. Thank you for spending this time with me. I hope you carry this message with you gently and return to it whenever you need a reminder. Until next time, be kind to yourself. You're doing better than you think.